My ex-girlfriend Sophia was a psycho with too much power. First, she told our principal to fire one of her teachers, and then she completely destroyed the life of a girl she was jealous of. Let me tell you how I met her and how I almost got murdered for breaking up with her. You see, I've always been a problem child. In high school, I learned how to lockpick and often broke into my school at night. I went through the teacher's files, took photos of future exams, and even changed my grades. I was pretty much fearless. And on my way to school, I approached any hot girl I saw. It was a numbers game. If I approached 100 girls, I knew I would get 2 or 3 of them into bed. It's because girls are desperate for a confident guy like me. But then, I chose a more challenging girl, whose name was Sophia. She was rich, hot, and a problem child like me. When our teacher, Mr. Kozak, told her to stop eating in class, she responded, "This muffin is nasty anyway. Here, take it." And despite her arrogance, I still had a crush on her. After class, I said, "You are really cute when you're angry." "Oh God, is that your pickup line?" "No, I mean it. And anyway, I go to a party tonight. Wanna come?" "Okay, fine, but don't disappoint me." Ugh, okay, maybe she was more stuck up than I thought.
My classmate Giselle was the most popular girl in school. She always hung out with guys and asked them for favors. "Can you buy me coffee?" or "Can you do my homework?" Meanwhile, she hated me because I got better grades than her. She wanted to be the best at everything, so she mastered the art of cheating. Every exam, I saw her either using cheat sheets or some idiot guy giving her the answers. Afterward, Giselle would say, "Thank you so much for helping me. I owe you something."
"Oh, don't worry. You are welcome."
I wish my life was as easy as hers. No guy was doing me any favors. When the teacher announced that I was the valedictorian of her class, Giselle said, "Oh, it's because she's having an affair with the principal." Everyone laughed at me and my big moment was ruined. Oh, at least I don't cheat on my exams by making some guy believe that I will sleep with him. Right, because no guy would ever want to sleep with you. I was furious but kept my anger stored until the next semester. When I saw Giselle cheating again, I informed the teacher about it. Within a second, she put the cheat sheet into her cutout and I screamed. Now she put it into her blouse. I saw it.
Well, I can't check if it's really in there, but I will pay extra attention from now on.
But that's not fair. She already cheated. Calm down, girl. Aren't you already unpopular enough? She was right. Afterward, everyone called me a snitch, and I became even more of a loner. It was painful, but then we got a new student called Pedro. The teacher made him sit right next to me, and we became good friends. When I invited him over to watch a movie, we even made out in my bed. Are we a couple now?
Of course we are.
It was great. We often giggled during class, and it drove Giselle crazy. She often screamed, "Oh, stop making so much noise. No one wants to hear your voice." But then Giselle invited everyone in our class to her house party except me. I told Pedro, "Please don't go there. You know I hate Giselle."
"Don't worry. I'll stay home."
I gave him a kiss, but the next week in school I noticed everyone looking at me and gossiping. What's their freaking problem?
Okay, I made a big mistake. Please don't be mad at me. But I did go to the party, and I can't remember much. But I think I told them a few secrets.
Like what?
Well, maybe I told everyone that you snore and sometimes fart while you sleep.
I was about to cry. I had trusted Pedro, and he had betrayed me.
And there is one more thing. We played spin the bottle at the party, and I had to kiss someone.
Who?
You don't want to know.
I froze and begged God that this was just a nightmare. But then Giselle came over and said, "Pedro, remember our kiss?" I slapped her in the face, but she just grinned back. I felt betrayed and hurt, so I ran home to cry myself out. Pedro kept writing me messages to apologize, but it was too late. I still hung out with him, but only as a friend, even though he kept telling me he loved me. But 2 months later, Giselle told me, "Pedro and I met on the weekend. It was a lot of fun, if you know what I mean." Is that true, Pedro?
Yes, but we aren't a couple anymore, so I can go out with whoever I want. Or?
I felt so betrayed, but I was also mad at Giselle, so I started following her around. I thought maybe I could catch her cheating on Pedro, but I found something even better. It was Saturday when I saw her going into a medical center. Was she sick? When she came out again, she threw away something in the trash, and I, of course, wanted to know what it was, so I fished it out with my hand. It was a plastic bag with a medical receipt inside, which said, Baraclude. I did a quick Google search and found out that it was hepatitis B medication. So Giselle had an STD. I honestly felt sorry for her, but I was also worried about Pedro. Did he know about her disease? Should I warn him? It felt like the right thing to do, so the next week in school, I pulled Pedro to the side. Sorry, Pedro, but I gotta tell you something important. Before I could continue speaking, Giselle interrupted me. Get away from my boyfriend, turd face. He doesn't want you anymore. Giselle, just let me talk to him shortly in private. No, Giselle is my girlfriend, and she will stay. Fine, Pedro. Did you know that she has hepatitis? What? You dirty liar! I'm gonna strangle you! Giselle was screaming so loud that other kids started gathering around us. No, it's true. Look what I found. I showed them the medical receipt for the hepatitis B medication, which had Giselle's name on it. She screamed that I had faked the document, but it had a doctor's stamp on it, and I think most people believed me. Also, Pedro must have taken her to the doctor the same day to check her for hepatitis B, because he broke up with her a few days later. It's kinda cruel, but I guess Giselle got what she deserved.
Friend. Meanwhile, my sister was 18 and had a 26-year-old boyfriend who'd bought her a car. And how did she get to know her lover? Well, over Instagram, where she had over 20,000 followers, even though she had only posted 25 photos of herself. I started to wonder if any guy would ever be interested in me, or if I just die alone someday. Well, when I went to college, I followed my passion for engineering, and I was so lucky, because 90% of engineering students are male. I still remember my first team project. I was with Liam working late into the night, and we had so much fun, laughing and vibing. At one point, he even told me that I was the coolest, smartest girl he'd ever met. It gave me a huge boost in confidence. Maybe I wasn't as worthless and unlovable as I had thought. Well, we kept seeing each other, and when we went to a bar, we had our first kiss. I wasn't sure if I was doing it right, but he seemed to enjoy it. Having a boyfriend in college is awesome. We saw each other every day and always studied together. When I told my sister I had a boyfriend, she was truly happy for me and asked, "Who is it?" But when I showed her a photo, she said, "Are you kidding me? I mean, if he's your boyfriend, then you are pretty damn lucky." I knew she meant it well, but I'm so insecure at times that I got angry and said, "It's not all about looks. I know I'm not as pretty as you, but that doesn't mean I'm worthless. I mean, how do you know that he isn't lucky to have me? Maybe I'm a great girlfriend despite of how ugly I am in your eyes." My sister hadn't expected such a reaction and looked shocked, so I apologized. But after my boyfriend and I graduated, we both started working in the same company. My female coworkers asked me, "How did you manage to get a guy like him?" They all act like he's so out of my league, and a couple of times I even saw my colleague Giselle flirting with him, even though she knows I'm his girlfriend. Afterward, I went up to her and said, "Please stop annoying my boyfriend. He's not interested in a tramp like you." "Oh, I'm just trying to help him. You see, he hasn't realized that he is out of your league. You are boring and look like a scarecrow. Meanwhile, he's smart and handsome." I'd never been in a fight in my life, but I was about to punch her in the face. I said, "Look, I get you are jealous, but if you ever need help finding a boyfriend, just ask me for help." Well, after that encounter, she tried even harder to steal my boyfriend away from me. But he's a good guy and always told her to go away. I guess things calmed down afterward. We were just a happy couple living our lives. But then Christmas came and my boyfriend and I were visiting my mom and sister. You can imagine how nervous I was. How would he react to seeing my stunningly beautiful sister, who at this point had never worked in her life because her boyfriends had always been taking care of her? Well, my boyfriend didn't run away with her. He acted as if my sister was just a normal person. But my sister immediately took me to the side and said, "He's a great guy. I'm really happy for you." But then we had a few drinks and my sister and boyfriend started to get along very well. They laughed and joked and I was completely ignored, like I'd been as a kid. I know how immature this sounds, but after a while I just interrupted them and said, "I want to go home." They said okay, and when Liam and I were in the car, he asked me if I was fine. That's when I told him how my sister had gotten all the attention as a kid, and I was quite insecure about it. But Liam is a great guy and apologized, and promised to be more aware of my insecurities next time. I know I'm immature and insecure, and maybe that will never change, but I'm glad to have a boyfriend who loves me anyway.
thousands of supporters of President Trump stormed the U.S. Capitol building, venting their anger at the victory of Joe Biden.
Media publications have covered what happened with this insane battle between Reddit users and giant Wall Street hedge funds.
All the beauty in your face, I'm afraid with each goodbye, lost the sun above my head, lost myself in things I said.
January the 29th, the losses had risen to $19.75 billion. Hedge funds had to
They
be
forced the
bailed out.
evacuation and lockdown of Congress.
Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos are all racing to see who will conquer the new space industry.
For the next few years, I had little to no luck. I mean, yeah, I found hundreds of grenades and rusty machine guns, but none of them had any value. It was 2 days after my 15th birthday when my metal detector started beeping like crazy. And it wasn't just beeping at one point, but it was beeping over an area of at least 2 square meters. I wasn't sure what was laying under me, but I knew it was something very big. So I took my shovel and started digging. I remember hitting against something. At first, I was scared. It could have been a mine, but I could feel that it wasn't metallic. After a few more seconds of digging, I realized that it was a big pot. It was very big and heavy and kinda ugly. But why was my metal detector been beeping if there wasn't any metal? It took me a few seconds to realize that something was inside the pot. So, I started pulling the dirt out of the opening of the pot. It didn't take long until I saw something golden. And trust me, I had waited years to find something golden. It were coins. Lots of coins. Too many coins for me to carry. I looked around to see if someone had followed me or seen my treasure, but no one was there. So I took 1 coin with me and put the rest back into the hole and filled it with dirt again. When I arrived home, I immediately showed my dad the gold coin I'd found. I told him there were many more, and a big smile appeared on his face. He asked, "How many?" And I said, "More than I could count." We decided to go back the following morning. But this time I realized that it wasn't just 1 pot full of gold coins, but that there were several pots under the ground, right next to each other. It were 7 big pots in total. After we had brought all of them to our home, we counted a little more than 10,000 gold coins. We had no idea how much they were worth, but we definitely knew we were rich. However, I made one big mistake. I should have never asked my dad for help. He turned out to be a selfish monster. Because the next morning when I woke up to take another look at my treasure, it was gone. I immediately asked my dad where the coins had gone, and he told me he had taken them away so I wouldn't spend them on stupid stuff. I got angry and told him those were my coins, and he had no right to take them away from me. When I offered him to share the coins 50-50, he started laughing and said, "I have raised you and I have bought you your metal detector. Therefore, those coins belong to me. Be a good boy and I will give you a few of them someday." Someday. Oh, I wanted to attack him right then and there. But that wouldn't have helped me find my coins either. No, I needed to find out where my dad had hidden them. I knew the only way my dad could have transported them was by using his car. That's why I asked several store owners in our city if I could take a look at their security cameras that were facing to the street. I told them someone had stolen my dad's car, and we were trying to find out where the thief had driven it. Everyone wanted to help and gave me access to their security camera footage. From there, it was easy to follow where my dad had driven his red Honda. Once I knew the district my dad had gone to, it immediately clicked. He had gone to my aunt. I called her up and asked if my dad had recently visited her. She said, "Yeah, he came in here at 5 a.m. in the morning. He said he needed to store a few boxes in my basement." Jackpot! I immediately visited my aunt and told her my dad wanted me to pick up his boxes again. Then I ordered a taxi and brought the coins into a cheap hotel. I took 1 coin with me and went to a pawn shop. I asked how much it was worth, and the guy looked shocked. He asked me who had given it to me. But I knew it was better to not give him any information, so instead I asked him again, "How much will you pay me for it?" He took a closer look and told me it was a Roman gold coin and in perfect condition. When he said he was willing to pay $15,000 for this single coin, I almost fainted. But I tried to stay cool, even though I had 10,000 more of these coins laying around in my cheap hotel. What if someone broke into my room and stole them from me? I took the $15,000 and ran back to my hotel. Luckily, my coins were still there. I immediately ordered a taxi and drove to Warsaw, the capital of Poland. There, I checked into a luxury hotel where I was safe from my dad and thieves. All that happened a few years ago, and I haven't seen my dad since. I've sold all my 10,000 coins for a total of $50 million to several private collectors. And I even found a legal loophole so I wouldn't have to pay any taxes. Today, I'm 18 and living on Ibiza. I'm mostly partying and having fun. But I also offered my mom to leave my dad and start a new life with me. However, she said she wouldn't leave my dad because she loved him too much. Well, I'm sorry, but that's her problem. As long as she lives with my dad, I won't give her a single penny.
I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you, but in my defense, I was only 14 when it happened. Okay, my mom died when I was little, so it was just me and my dad. You'd think that would make us really close, kind of us against the world, but I don't think he ever really wanted to be a parent. He always had something more important to do than spending time with me. Of course, I tried everything to get my dad's attention. One time I got into so much trouble that the police brought me home. I hoped my dad would get angry or show some sign of him being worried about me, but instead, he was just annoyed and told me I was an embarrassment. He also said I should sort myself out because I'd be an adult soon and would have to look after myself. I was so mad at him, but I tried one last thing to get his attention. I packed a bag with all the things I need to live on my own for a few days. Then I waited for a big storm, and when it hit, I went down to the beach with our canoe. Then I put a few empty pain pill bottles into the canoe and shoved it into the water. I let the canoe drift away to make it look like I'd fallen overboard. Then I checked into a cheap motel using a fake ID. I don't really know what I was expecting to happen next. I wasn't even sure if my dad would notice I'd gone. 2 days later, I put on a hoodie and sunglasses and went to buy some food. When I saw the local newspaper, I couldn't believe it. The headline said, 14-year-old missing in the ocean. Apparently, hundreds of people were searching for me. They'd even sent out the search and rescue helicopters. In that moment, I felt so ashamed. I never thought so many people would go looking for me. I just wanted my dad to show he cared. I didn't know what to do. So in the end, I just went to the police and told them what I'd done. They took me home to my dad, but he wasn't happy to see me. All he could do was go on about how much trouble I'd caused him. I was very disappointed. And the next day, I left him for good. I never went back and never called him again. It's hard living on your own when you're 14. I had to lie about my age to get low-paid jobs, and life was tough for many years. Until I hit 18 and I joined the Navy. It was the best thing I ever did. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged, that I was surrounded by people who were family. I'm still close friends with most of the people who trained with me. Unfortunately, after a couple years, I broke my ankle badly and was discharged. Luckily, I discovered it wasn't too late to go to college. I found a cheap community college, which was all I could afford, and I graduated at 25. College changed my life. I met my wife Sissy there, and we have a daughter together. Being married with a kid isn't always easy, but I tell my wife and child I love them every single day. I know how painful it is to live without feeling loved, and there's no way my daughter is going to grow up thinking her dad doesn't care. My childhood was tough, but it doesn't define me. Just because my dad didn't love me doesn't mean that I can't love my daughter and my wife.
Imagine being locked inside a small elevator with your biggest crush. Meanwhile, the AC stops working and it gets so hot that you both take off your shirts. Sounds like a dream. Well, this actually happened to me, and here's how. I was in school when my enemy Alexa made fun of me. She said, "I'm going on a date this weekend, and you? Netflix and chill with your dad?" Oh, stop it, Alexa. If I wanted a boyfriend, I could get one easily. Ha! Not in your wildest dreams. Guys just don't think that you are attractive. I wanted to prove her wrong, so I secretly went to my teacher and said, Mr. Flanders, I know this sounds weird, but I really want to work with Jordan. Can you team us up on the next project? That's cute, and sure, I'll let you two write an essay together. It was awesome! Jordan and I met up in the library for our team project. Maybe I wasn't the prettiest girl, but I had a secret weapon. Because I was absolutely shameless. I said, so, do you have a crush on any girl in our class? Oh, I don't have time for dating. I only focus on school and my soccer career. Wow, I heard you almost made the national team. Have you ever had any groupies? Well, girls often come into the locker room looking to have some fun, but I think it's super annoying. That's when I undid the top button of my blouse and asked, have you ever dated a brunette? You mean like yourself? Yes, and now tell me, do you find me attractive? Oh, stop, and let's go back to work. Oh my god, I needed a better plan to seduce him. So I lured him into my dad's mansion. There, we had a small elevator, and I had instructed my brother to switch off the circuit breaker in the middle of the ride. Whoa, the elevator stopped. Yeah, it happens all the time. We just have to wait until my dad comes home and rescues us. It was so tight, Jordan's body was almost pressed up against mine. And with the AC off, it got really hot and muggy in there. So I said, if you want to take off your shirt, please go ahead. Well, actually I'm fine. Well then, I'll go first. I peeled down to my bra and said, it's just like a bikini. And by the way, do you think I'm attractive? Oh, you sure look good. I really thought he liked me, so I went ahead and kissed him. We kept going for 20 minutes, but right when I took his shirt off, I heard my dad scream, "Hey, what are you doing with my daughter?" Snap! I was in big trouble.